Hello and welcome to EduPlatz Talks. I am your host Priyanka, and today we are talking about something magical, something that has been with us since before we could even read or write. It's storytelling. Think about it. When you were little, didn't you love curling up and listening to a bedtime stories? Or maybe you still do. Stories are not just entertainment. They are a little lessons wrapped in a magic. Today, I will share why storytelling is so powerful for kids, how it builds imagination, vocabulary, and values. And yes, I will even tell you a story right here in this episode. So settle in because this will be fun. Stories have been around forever, long before books and screens. People shared their stories around campfires. They passed on wisdom, culture, and lessons through tales of animals, kings, queens, and adventures. For children, stories are like invisible bridges. They connect, learning with curiosity. When a child listens to a story, their brain does not just hear words, it paints a picture. If I say a golden bird flew across the pink evening sky, you are already imagining it, right? That's the beauty of storytelling. It builds imagination. Kids don't just hear a word, they see it in their mind. And every time they imagine, their creativity grows. But it does not stop there. Stories feed children with new words. Think of our fairy tales: castle, wand, enchanted, bravery, or folk stories, wisdom, journey, kindness. Every word a child hears in a story becomes a tool they can later use in schools, in writing, or in everyday conversations. And here is the magic part: kids don't feel like they are learning vocabulary, they are just enjoying the story. The words quietly slip into their mind. That's why at EduPlatz we encourage parents and teachers to make stories part of their learning, because every words learned through stories stick longer than words memorized from the list. Now let's talk about something even more important: values. Stories shape how children see the world. When they hear about a hero who helped others, they learn kindness. When they hear about a clever rabbit who solves a problem, they learn problem solving. When they hear about a character who makes a mistake and learn from it, they understand the failing is also okay, as long as you are trying again. So, stories don't just teach what, but also how. They teach children how to be brave, patient, kind, and curious. Now, as promised, let me tell you a little story. Are you ready? Once upon a time, in a village by the river, there lived a boy named Rohan. He loved listening to stories but hated reading books. His grandmother, who was wise and gentle, noticed this. One day she told him, "Rohan, every book is a locked treasure chest, and stories are the keys." Curious Rohan picked up a book. The first page was difficult, but then he remembered his grandmother's word. Slowly he began to read, and to his surprise, the story inside pulled him in. He read about brave explorers, talking animals, and secret caves. Day by day, his reading got better. His word grew stronger, and his imagination got higher. One evening, when his grandmother asked him to tell her a story, Rohan smiled. He had become not just a good listener, but a storyteller himself. And the lesson: story opens doors. Once you step in, you grow in ways you never imagined. Now let's step back into real life. How can parents and teachers bring storytellings into children's daily routine? It's simpler than you think. Read aloud to kid every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Use funny voices, pause at exciting parts, and let kids guess what's happened next. Encourage them to make their own endings or tell their own short stories. You don't always need a book. Even sharing stories from your childhood works wonders. At EduPlatz, we often see children open up during storytelling sessions. A shy child who may not speak much in class suddenly lights up when asked to narrate a story. Their confidence grows without them realizing it. And parents often tell us that once storytellings become a habit, kids become more curious, more expressive, and even do better in school. Of course, we live in time of gadgets. Kids love videos and games, and that's okay. But balancing it with stories make a huge difference. Unlike screens, story make children imagine the scene in their own head. That act of imagining is like exercise for the brain. And just exercise makes our body strong, imagination makes our mind strong. So instead of saying no screens at all, we can simply add more stories through bedtime reading, audio stories, or even podcasts like this one. So, my little friends and my dear parents listening, here is the truth. Storytelling is not just the way to pass time, it's the way to build imaginations, to grow vocabulary, to teach values, and to create wonderful memories together. If you are a parent, I encourage you tonight. Tell your child a short story before bed. If you are a teacher, start your day with a tiny story for your class. And if you are a child listening to this, maybe you can tell your own story to your friends or siblings. At EduPlatz, we believe learning is not only about books and exams, it's about creativity, imagination, and expression. That's why we also conduct storytelling sessions for kids, where children not only listen but also learn to tell their own stories with confidence. So, the next time you hear the word once upon a time, remember you are not just listening, you are growing, learning, and becoming a storyteller yourself. I'm Priyanka, and this was EduPlatz Talks. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep imagining, and keep telling stories. Thank you.